So, hi everyone. If you don't know, my name's Idris Garvey Ibrahim. I am currently a junior at BHS. Um, my favorite memory from high school would have to be when my chemistry teacher, Aaron Fogg, gave me a book at the end of the year. Um, and he wrote some really nice notes about uh, what he thought of me as a student, and along with Miss Brady, who was my core chemistry teacher the year before. And they both contributed to add some really good comments about my like work ethic and how the class went for me. And the book was about like chemistry, so it's a really cool moment and very thoughtful of them.
I can go next. Mine is less school related, but I really liked seeing I liked the girls basketball championship. I think my sophomore year, it was cool to see like all these people in the Patrick Gym, like cheering for the girls, really excited about the win, and it was just a really memorable moment.
I can go next. Mine's a little less school related as well, though it wasn't the Macy's building. It probably had to be ninth grade Winterfest. It's kind of the like event we have before winter break. It's just a bunch of stuff going on at the end of the school day, and it was cool to see like the school spirit and everybody coming together and just unwinding before break, just kind of having fun throughout the whole building.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, it's what was your favorite memory in your high school career so far?
Okay, I'll answer this next. I think my favorite memory in my high school experience, I am new. I was new to BHS last year, so I like haven't had as much experience in high school at BHS, but like I still made a lot of memories. One that I really hold on to, I guess, is like my first day of band class. Um, Mr. Owens, my teacher, he really tried to help me connect with other people who play trumpet, and I'm still friends with them today, and I'm really thankful for that.
Can go. I'm Annie. I am a graduating senior, rising college freshman. Um, it is very hard for me to pinpoint one memory, um, but one that I was thinking of was in Mr. McConville's 10th grade English class. I don't know if anyone took that, anyone else took that class, but I'm a big writer and I love writing. And he gave me a failing grade on an essay that I was really proud of. And he gave me a bunch of notes and we worked on it together and he really just changed the way that I am as a writer, and he really set the bar a lot higher for me, and I'm really grateful for him and for all of the teachers at BHS for doing things like that.
Are you guys ready to go on the next question? Okay.
Guess so.
Yeah. So the next question we came up with was who has been your favorite teacher at BHS in your high school career?
And if you don't have a favorite, like can say do or influential too, because some have just changed the
Yeah.
way they write, like Annie said before too.
Yeah. I can start. So I said it was Miss Fiacco Casey, and specifically her English 10 honors class back in my sophomore year. She was very understanding, but she was also very hard on us. And I felt like that prepped us for future classes. Um, and also, she just really expected the best out of us all the time, which prepped us for future, like life, not just like school, but like life in general. Cause like she just gave us really good life lessons, and she would incorporate that into her class. She also was like, she would come across as really like, not everyone liked her, I would say, but it's kind of like the type of class where after you're done with it, you realize it was really helpful. So yeah, that's been my favorite teachers so far.
I had a teacher, her name was Miss Kelly. I met her freshman year. Advisory teacher. And though I haven't taken a class with her, she was always that teacher that I could run to if I did bad on a test and thought it was unfair, or just talk to, because she wouldn't judge or like have to do anything, but she would just like sit there and listen and maybe give me reasons that I was wrong or that stuff I could do to improve. So she really impacted that, and she is like the club leader for creative writing. So I get to spend lots of time during that with her as well.
My favorite teacher is also a teacher I didn't actually have a class with, but he was my advisory teacher, Eric Gavin. Yeah, he's definitely a teacher that since I've had him since ninth grade, I've been able to get to know really well. And he's a person that I can talk to about a variety of things, whether it's like school or personal life. He's one of the few adult figures outside of my family that uh, I can, in a way, like confide in. So it was just really hard to find a teacher like that for high school. And finding that first year in till now, it's been really helpful on me scholastically and like personally, mentally.
I would like to go next. Okay. My favorite teacher is probably Miss G, because she was my art teacher 2 years in a row, and she really pushed me to make better pieces of work, and I like to talk to her about stuff, and we have a lot in common, because we both really like art, and I think that she's just fun to talk to.
I can go. It's very hard for me to choose. I would say my two favorites are Mr. McConville, as I mentioned earlier, and Mr. Sal as well. Mr. McConville, because he always has pushed me as a writer, which I really appreciate. Um, but Mr. Sal is just always there for me. Her room is always a safe space. And yeah, she's just gotten me through some difficult times, so I'm very grateful for her.
Okay. Are we ready to move on to the next question? All right. The next question is, what is something a friend or a teacher did that helped you get through high school? Does anyone want to start?
I can start, I guess. This kind of boringly ties back to the other question, but Harry Gavin a lot during advisory time would just check up on my grades, just kind of, I don't know, give me an extra push or reminder to do something when I needed it. And he kept it real always. He didn't really sugarcoat it because he knew my potential and when I would be slacking and when I would be working hard. So he always kept it real with me when I needed to be real, and yeah, always pushed me to my limits.
That's great. I can go next. My my friend Rose, she worked with me on the newspaper, and we just went through similar ups and downs together, and um, she really like she really helped me kind of get through my senior year in particular. And she was just always like, she would, bring me into her advisory, which was very quiet, and we would talk. And that was very helpful. Yeah.
I had a teacher that really helped me get specifically through this year was was my director for the school musical. He would always like push me to be better. I've needed recommendations for certain things throughout this whole year, and he's always been willing and like supportive to provide and like help me get through applications and stuff and like thinking through to the future for college and everything. And he's someone that's always supported me since I met him in sophomore year. So it was really helpful to know that I always had someone in my corner to turn to if I needed anything.
I can go. This is it's school related, but it's not like work related. I'm gonna go with Mr. Carney, just because like every advisory time or lunchtime, I just go to his room and it's like a really good place to like relax and like take a break from the school day. And he's always like in a good mood and he lightens up your day if you're having a bad day. So I would definitely say since freshman year up until now, I've always gone there, and it's a great room to go into if you're trying to like spend time with friends and just like detox from the school day for like half an hour.
A teacher, no, I mean a teacher or a friend that has helped me through my years in college, not college, in high school. Like a friend of mine named Kuba. He was a really like outgoing friend of mine. Like he really tried to be my friend in the beginning parts of my time at BHS, and it really helped me build more connections as I started sophomore year.
All right. Next question is, did anything surprise you about BHS or high school in general? Does anyone want to start?
I can start. I know this is kind of a generic one since we've all like gone to the Macy's and like, oh, this is normal for us, but just like having the elevators and the like little on the top of walls, it was like Calvin Klein or like random brands. I thought that was really surprising because from going from like Edmonds Middle School and elementary school, that was really different. And also the fact that it didn't make it feel like a mall. Like the teachers and the people all made it feel just like a regular high school. And that really surprised me going into freshman year because everyone was big talking about how like crazy it was. But to be honest, we didn't really notice for the most part.
I can go. Freshman year was a long time ago, but I think that something I remember being pleasantly surprised by was that there was a very good balance between like support and also freedom. Like, I felt very supported by my teachers my freshman year. Um, and it was like they helped ease the transition, but I also had more freedom and more responsibility, which is what I was hoping to have. So that was like a good balance.
I can go. I would say freshman year, I would definitely say how like I felt like the school would be a lot bigger, but it really wasn't. I feel like it wasn't big, but it was really hard to get lost because of how like similar the hallways looked. But then again, like going back to what Austen said about like what we heard about what the school is kind of like, it wasn't as bad as I thought, and it like kind of like felt like a high school after a while. Like teachers made it that way, students made it that way. It just was like it was a place where you could like call high school after a little while because it was just like what we were used to. And I don't really know like what else to like. I don't have an actual high school experience, so I can't really like compare that. But it felt like a normal school after a while, and like it definitely transformed into that. So.
I can go next. Yeah, I shared similar experiences with Idris. Uh, Being in ninth grade and trying to like traverse the hallways for the first time was really confusing, just because everything looked exactly the same to me. But I got used to it in like a week or two, and then past that, I just didn't really think of it like as a mall. I think what Annie and Austin said, relating to like the people and teachers, like get a lot more support in high school, which is one thing that surprised me, like from the teachers on an individual level. Like you have your counselor, you have your advisor, there's people who will be watching out for you the 4 years you're there. So it just felt pretty regular to me. Like after I adjusted to like just the building, I don't have a real high school to compare it to, as you said. So like this is my high school. I never really thought of it as Macy's past like week 2 or 3 at VHS. So yeah, I was just kind of underwhelmed a little bit, you could say. People just trying to make it seem like crazier and more wild than it is. And it's just really, if you've been there from year one, it's just a high school, honestly.
Um, I mean, me personally, as someone who has not been here since year one, when I thought that people saying that it was a mall, like back at my old school, they were just lying to me, but they actually weren't. And BHS was high key in a mall. And when I first like walked in and stuff, I had absolutely no bearings because the signs were pretty confusing and so were the rooms. And like it was very overwhelming because I didn't like have people that I could like really go to ask to about where to go in the beginning parts of my time. So like that really surprised me. Like the the layout of the school is a lot different than like an actual high school, but it it did take some getting used to, but I did get used to it. And even though it's not a high school, it's our high school.
Nice. The next question is, what is a piece of advice you could give to upcoming students? I can start if you guys are good with that. I basically said, um, if you're trying to like get noticed by your teachers, or you're trying to like, um, basically what I'm saying is like you don't have to be, if you're not like the smartest student in the class, you can always be the hardest working student. And I definitely like, um, I would definitely say that to like upcoming students. Like, even if you feel like you're struggling in a class, there's always a chance for improvement, and there's always a chance to show your teachers you care about the class. And that goes a lot further than just what your grades say, because your teachers will notice your hard work, and it will pay off in either your grades or how your teachers think of you and pass that on to others. So
this question is like top of mind for me because I was just talking to my friend Mo about this the other day. But I think that what I said was like just do embarrassing things. Like be willing to feel embarrassed. Because when I was reflecting on like my college application experience, which I know isn't the goal of high school for a lot of people, but it was for me. And I was just realized that like everything that I'd been embarrassed to do were the things that helped me get into college. Um, so just like be willing to put yourself out there. And this can be like in anything. It can be sports, drama, whatever. But put yourself out there and be willing to be embarrassed. I think that's huge.
Something that I would tell like upcoming freshmen, especially like with the new school, is like we're all still working it out. Wait, there's someone at my door. 1 second.
I can real quick piggyback off of Annie's. I feel like joining as many clubs as you can is really important. Clubs, sports, like just join something when you join high school is really important because it's how you get your friends, it's how you know your way around, and I do think it's a big piece of like, yes, for college, especially like you can write about your experiences, but then also it just like helps you survive because sometimes school gets hard and you can always have that one place, that one sport just to run back to and have fun and just realize that's the reason you're here for right now.
Okay, I'm back. My neighbors were just bringing us cookies because I got new neighbors. I'll definitely say like we're all still working it out in the new school. Like no one's really gonna know where they're going or what they're doing, and that's okay. Like it's most likely all gonna work out.
Piggybacking off of what Austen and Annie and a little bit of what Idris said, I think getting into ninth grade, I would advise to just like show some character, just, like put yourself out there. Like obviously work matters a lot too, and GPA and next steps after high school. But when I think back to high school, I don't think about the work and GPA and stuff like that. I think about memorable moments with my friends, the connections I made, because these 4 years are years of connection, probably the most you'll make in your life. So I think that's something you should be thinking about, just having fun, putting yourself out there.
all right. The next question is, what was one of the biggest challenges during your high school career, and how did you overcome it? Does anyone want to start?
I could start. Mine's probably, I think I have two answers for this, but I'll just say one. One is finding your people. I feel like that is stressed a lot because you're supposed to have that big friend group and just have do everything with them. And I think a big challenge of mine was like, oh, I need this. I need to find like who my people are. But I think overcoming that, I'm like, I'm just gonna try and be friends with everyone, try and just hang out with whoever you want. And for me, it's the social aspect and just not even needing to find your people, find your group, but having those three people who aren't connected with each other, but you still know are connected with you is really important. Um, Challenge to face in high school.
I think so. My sophomore year in general was just very difficult for a lot of different reasons. and like similar to what Austen was saying, socially, academically. Um, and I think that how I was able to like get through it was just kind of by like redirecting my energy and realizing that like not every area of your life is going to thrive at every single time of your life. That was like a very important lesson for me. Um, and kind of like putting social energy into work or into clubs or things like that. And then I was able to like find a lot of fulfillment from areas that I didn't think that I would have. Um, and so, yeah, I think that's really important. It's just like trial and error, um, and just trying out a bunch of stuff, like we said earlier.
I can go. I would definitely say, going back to what Annie said about like trial and error, I struggled with that like my freshman and sophomore year, and this was like to the aspect of like joining clubs and trying new stuff and like going outside of my comfort zone. And I definitely like regret that because joining clubs early is a big thing, in your high school career, not just for the academic aspects, but also the social aspect. And I had some clubs, but like I wasn't like really putting myself out there. And I feel like it would be a lot more helpful if I did that earlier. I overcame this by joining a lot more clubs my junior year, and I don't know if that was too late, but it definitely helped a lot with both those things I just discussed. Um, but yeah.
I can go next. I think for me, it was probably the transition from eighth grade to ninth grade, specifically like sports wise. Ninth grade, I was one of the youngest kids, or I was a freshman on varsity, and kind of just being with a group of older kids who are a lot better than me. But most of my life, I've been one of the best on my team or the oldest on my team, and then kind of just the power dynamic or struggle change. And, just kind of feeling like an outsider for most of the season, having a lot of injuries and dealing with that mentally, and then just being around a lot of new people, trying to fit in, and then keeping up academically since the workload got a little harder ninth grade. I think that was probably the most challenging time of my high school career, kind of adjusting sports wise and academically wise at the same time.
Um, for me, uh, since I did join BHS in sophomore year, there was like a lot of scrambling at the beginning of the year, of like the school year, because like with classes, something I wasn't taking the right classes at one point, so I like my schedule changed a lot within the first couple of weeks, and it was hard for me to like get uh get like a friend, I guess, for like the first 2 or 3 weeks of school. And I mean, it worked out now because I'm super popular and attractive, but like it it was just in the beginning, a challenge was definitely finding friends and keeping up with my classes, and it kind of just sorted itself out with time because I got into the groove.
Okay. The next question is, what classes, clubs, or sports drew you in and why? Does anyone want to start?
I can go. Um, this is a answer to your question and also a advertisement. I think everyone should join philosophy club. It is like completely changed my high school career. Um, I joined my sophomore year, just because some people I knew were in it. And I know, Idris, you've been to like a handful of clubs of philosophy club, but it has just been like it's wonderful. And Tyler, who runs it, he's a philosophy professor at UVM, and basically every Tuesday afternoon we just have like most amazing conversations. And I think my favorite part about it is like it is so accessible, because philosophy can kind of seem a little bit like, I don't know, kind of like high and mighty, and like how do you even access that? But we deal with problems that everyone experiences on some level, like ethical issues, and yeah, the conversations are just amazing. Um, so you should all join philosophy club next year.
I can go. I would say for sports, I can start with sports. I think I have a club too, but basketball, it's always been a really tight knit team, almost like a family sport, and it's really competitive, but it makes you want to get better and like push everyone harder. Um, and especially, I think the best parts of it is before the season starts when um, the team or like a select number of people, we do workouts and we work with the coaches, and it's like a group of motivated people who really want to like push each other and get better. And even if that gets tough, even if like we're yelling at each other, or like we're getting mad at each other, we know like we're gonna work through it, and we're here for the same goal. And it's like a really cool feeling. And then for the club, I was gonna say, I was gonna say for my history club, which started this year. It's a new club. Everyone join, same type of advertisement. Um, I think it's like it's just like a really cool experience where you can come together as friends, or if you have friends in the group. We just talk about like our interest in history, and even if that's even sometimes we get off topic, but it's a really cool club where we can come together and collaborate. There's a lot of good ideas, and although we didn't execute all of them, it's really fun. So clubs like that, sports like that, that's what really draws me in.
I guess I can go next. Classes can be included in this answer, right?
Yeah.
I think my ninth grade civics and English class, they were the same people in the classes, so we would have them block to block. Not a lot of my initial middle school friends or people I was just familiar with were in that class and or those classes, and there was a lot of hands-on activities, a lot of integrating other students in that class. So I had a lot of fun, and I was able to make new connections outside of my friends, and just kind of get to know people a lot better than I probably would have had without that class. Yeah, so yeah, I didn't really join any clubs, unfortunately. Planning to next year probably. I played soccer, or I've been playing soccer since ninth grade, and it's kind of the same spiel as Idris's basketball thingy, so I won't mention it, but definitely civics and English have yeah, piqued my interest, I guess.
For me, I think like the biggest thing my first year here is like I don't know how I heard about it. Like my parents heard about it or something, but like soccer tryouts, because I really, really, really liked soccer last year. I didn't play this year, but I really liked it last year. I thought like my parents thought it would be a really good idea for me to do that so I could play soccer, but also so that I could make friends before I actually got into the new school. And it did work. It did work. I went to the afternoon tryouts because at the time I lived too far away to go to the morning ones. And even then, I still made a lot of friends that I am still friends with right now. And it was really fun.
So I joined Creative Writing Club freshman year because my older brother's friends were doing it, and I've always been interested in writing, and this is kind of the same spiel. Everyone doing creative writing, and our like advisory teacher for Creative Writing Club is Miss Kelly. She took a bunch of the kids in the club, and we all wrote plays together and participated in the Vermont Young Playwrights Film Festival. Um, Annie and John, they wrote plays for it, and it was really helpful and influential, and it was just a really great club. And then on the sports side, I played hockey my freshman year, and it was really fun. And going back to like a friend that kind of helped me be influential, there was a girl on the hockey team, Abby Wheeler, and she told me about ultimate frisbee. And up till that point, I was planning on playing lacrosse. But after her like spiel of like how inclusive and open and spirited it was, it really drew me in, and I went to the first practice and never looked back. It was a really good contrast from hockey, the rough and tumbleness, and I was drawn in and have been on the team ever since. It's really made a positive and lighthearted impact on my life.
Okay. We have 3 more questions. The next question is, what has been your favorite school-sponsored event? Does anyone want to start?
What school sponsored, like how I mentioned like Winterfest before, or like something different idea?
Yeah, like that type of. Do you want to share?
Um,
Let me just get some think time.
One of mine, Mathias reminded me of Winterfest, and that reminded me of Winter Ball. I know it's not like fully, it's school sponsored. Student Gov really helps plan it, and I don't know, it's different vibe from homecoming and prom. It's very like in the middle of like the cold snow years, like during that season, and it's like no one really wants to go outside or do too much, and Winter Ball just like is like a night of like fun and like lightheartedness during that. And so it's really fun to like have that school sponsored event. And pep rallies, it's a little harder to do at the Macy's because we have to go on top of the parking garage, and not a lot of people are into it. But I do think that's something that we could look forward to, especially next year for the rising seniors, is the school spirit in the pep rallies. And it's really fun. It just like gets people going for the year and for different seasons.
I can go next. I do believe I said that Winterfest was my favorite, but if something had to be my second favorite, it would be Culture Day. I just remember being kind of surprised in ninth grade how heavily diversity was celebrated in BHS. and kind of seeing so many other people of my same nationality on release, which I had in middle school, elementary school. Everyone coming together and celebrating that, being prideful about where they're from, their nationality, and their culture. Kind of just celebrating it for lunch and advisory was really cool to see. Sad that they discontinued that celebration this year, but yeah, yeah, the diversity thing, it's just really cool to be a part of.
I think my favorite school sanctioned event was probably prom. I really liked prom because I really like to dance. Because I'm a bad boy on the dance floor. Uh, like and like there was a lot of food there, and there was like a basketball game playing. There was like really a sense of community. And I mean, like as I said, I'm a bad boy on the dance floor, so I was getting down. It was so fun, and I went with all my friends, and we just hung out. It was really good.
Um, I was just gonna say that I'm glad that Matthias brought up Culture Day because I wasn't thinking about that, but that's always so cool. Um, and it's just so interesting to see people that you see every day, um, like wearing things that are related to their culture, and yeah, that was really eye opening. Um, but I was also gonna say prom just because I love to dance. Seems John does too.
Yeah, I was gonna say Spirit Week or the Spirit Weeks that happen because it's just like a good time to for everyone to get together and like have a themed thing or something. Like I remember, like I think like I was matching with like 3 different people. I don't know. We just like it's a good way to like collaborate and um like kind of like a competitive challenge to like submit who has the best spirit. So I think that's probably my favorite. Okay, last 2 questions. First one is, what is the biggest change you noticed about yourself from freshman year to present now? Does anyone want to start?
Mine's pretty basic, but I think my confidence and my like preparedness for the outside world has really matured because like I've had teachers that have been preparing me, like Auntie's story about McConville. I had a teacher this year specifically that I was just very upset because writing's kind of my thing and I was just not succeeding. I had to keep revising the work. And it helped me realize that in life, especially in writing, you just have to keep trying and redo it if it's not up to par. And I think that helped me in learn about all about life because you're going to be bad at stuff in the future and just trying it again is really helpful. And I think freshman year me would not have been okay with rewriting anything.
For me, it was probably my interests and like aspirations for life after high school. Ninth grade, I was more a science oriented student, uh, and math as well. But over the years, I've looked into other topics. I want to go to college for psychology. Definitely more writing oriented now, and I've definitely lazied in on my steps. Uh, Life after high school, like details and stuff, and yeah, it just wasn't me in ninth grade. Yeah.
Um, I would say like from ninth grade to now, I've definitely been putting myself out there more and like pushing myself to like, I don't know, like step up in more leadership leadership positions and publicly speak, and like, and then like the social aspects, like also like trying to put myself out there more and like um, create more friend groups and like kind of push myself out of my comfort zone where I was in ninth grade. And I definitely noticed that those like jumps, like I've definitely developed into more like um, not extroverted, but like not as introverted as I used to be. So that's probably the biggest change I've noticed.
I think most notably for me, from freshman year at my old school, I was much more like, I wasn't as spontaneous. I was like much more structured, I think. Like I didn't really want anything about my life to change. But definitely in BHS, since I everything in my life wasn't as concrete, I had to push myself to be more open to change, and that helped me like join clubs and try out new sports. Like I play ultimate frisbee now, and I would not have done that at my old school. And um, like definitely, I notice now I am much more open to like change.
Um, I can go. I'm sorry if there's any noise in the background. My house is a little chaotic right now. I think that this isn't that like interesting, but I think the biggest change um, is just that I've become a harder worker, or like I've gotten better at knowing how to work hard, if that makes sense. Like in middle school, I was like, oh, I need all A's, but it was so easy to get all A's in middle school. So I feel like I've really developed who I am as like a student better, and yeah, I feel like I've learned how to succeed at a higher level.
Has everyone shared on that question? Okay. All right. The last question is what's a unique story about going to high school in a Macy's that maybe like other student Macy's story? Someone want to start?
I guess I can go. I think something that we really haven't mentioned, and I don't know if it's specific to the Macy's, but I'll try to make it more specific, is Yes program. I think that was like a big thing, and no one really outside, except for like CVU, they have Rise, but it's very like a shock to like the Colchester and SB kids because they're struggling with finals and having 2 weeks left of school, and we're out on the turf playing spike ball or learning how to skateboard. And I think because we're in the Macy's, we've really latched onto that because we don't get windows. We don't have time outside really. We normally just get stuck in the school. And I think all the teachers really want to help us get in touch with nature. And I think that's just a unique thing about Macy's that nobody really outside understands.
I feel like being in a Macy's has really increased my gratitude for natural light. I feel like it's a quintessential Macy's experience to like be in school all day and then walk outside and be like blinded. Um, and yeah, that's just one small thing. Like, I love whenever we can go on the roof or go outside. Another like cool aspect of not being in a Macy's but being downtown is just like how close we are to downtown. I feel like there's like been a huge benefit, and we are very used to it, so we don't always realize how lucky we are. But I feel like it's been so great to be like right in the heart of Burlington.
Yeah. Going back to how we're like in the heart of Burlington, I would say like what's unique is we're kind of like it almost doesn't like feel like high school because you have so much freedom because we're downtown and like you share a parking garage with other workplaces and a hotel. So it's just like you feel like you're just almost independent and like you're part of something bigger than just like a typical high school on like in like a suburban neighborhood because you're part of uh, a bigger community in general.
Could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So the question is basically like, what has been unique about Macy's to you over your high school career? Or like, some people have been answering it like how does I don't yeah, just stick with that. Just try to go off that.
First thing that comes to mind is
Yeah.
maybe like I guess like the structural failures. Like the walls are like paper thin. They break a lot. Uh, the escalators for the first 2 years, we had escalators that were like moving and they would like break at least twice a week. So we would have to use the stairs, and then in the beginning of the day, the whole school would be jam packed into two stairwells, and you're just no breathing room, no arm room. It was terrible. Um, the leaks we've been having, I think this year, earlier this year, there was like a couple of just random leaks that made the cafeteria smell like bonk. It's terrible. I think full amount of clothes for a day because of a leak, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, a lot of things to do with the physical building. Just like that probably wouldn't have happened in a regular high school. Like wouldn't be able to punch through a wall, bump into it, and then fall into a classroom. So it's just like the building's definitely different than a real high school, even though I've never been in one. And also the accessibility to downtown. Like we were able to join we're the only high school that joined the ICE protest downtown because we were literally right there. So it's like kind of cool to be able to do community events because we're so close to downtown. Yeah, only high school that's able to do that. So that's definitely different.
Yeah, I think like piggybacking off what Mathias said, like the structural integrity of the school, a lot of the walls didn't reach the ceiling. So like I got to hear a lot of the gossip about the school, like what was going on with other people's lives that I don't know. And that was actually pretty cool. Like and like I remember one time I was taking a honors physics test and there were like kids out on the other side of the wall just talking about something random, and like the entire class started cracking up because like they were just talking about some funny stuff. And I think that if the walls did reach the ceiling, the sound wouldn't have reached us as well, which is a physics concept. um and maybe like we would have just kept taking the test in boring silence, and that would have been pretty boring.
All right. Those are some great answers, but I think that's all the questions we had.